The Galactic Council chamber fell silent as Ambassador Chen walked through the crystalline doors carrying a simple wooden box. Behind her, 3 other humans followed, their faces carved from stone, their eyes holding something the assembled delegates had never quite seen before. The Vryn counselor shifted uncomfortably in her suspension field. She had presided over 10,000 sessions, arbitrated disputes between species that communicated through radiation and sound, through pheromones and quantum entanglement, but she had never felt dread like this. Chen placed the box on the central platform. The holographic displays dimmed automatically, focusing every optical sensor, every sensory organ, every consciousness in the chamber on that single wooden container. "Honored Council," Chen began, her voice carrying the artificial calm of someone who had rehearsed this moment 1,000 times. 3 standard cycles ago, the Zelthari governance submitted a formal complaint regarding human expansion into the Kepler Traverse. They claimed we violated territorial agreements. They demanded reparations. Councillor Vryn's tendrils twitched. "Yes, Ambassador. The matter was scheduled for mediation. There was no need for..." They sent Enforcement Officer Krelva to Colony World Meridian 7. Chen continued as if the counselor hadn't spoken. "Standard procedure, you'll say. An inspection. Documentation of violations." She opened the box. The skull was small. Too small. Even the species unfamiliar with human anatomy could recognize youth in those proportions, in the delicate bone structure, in the baby teeth still visible in the jaw. Her name was Maya Okonkwo, Chen said. She was 7 years old. 7 of our years. She was playing near the settlement perimeter when Officer Krelva arrived. The Zelthari delegate rose, his translator crackling. "This is inflammatory propaganda." Officer Krelva filed a complete report. The child approached restricted. "She was picking flowers," another human interrupted. Commander Sarah Voss stepped forward and several delegates instinctively moved back. Voss had served on the Titan front, had been present at first contact, had personally pulled 14 species from extinction events. Her service record was legendary. Her restraint until this moment had been absolute. Blue stellar flowers. They grow in the shade near the water recyclers. She was making a bouquet for her mother. The Zelthari delegate's chromatic display flickered with indignation. Officer Krelva was performing his duties. The child entered a security zone. He issued a warning. The creature did not comply. The temperature in the chamber seemed to drop. "The creature," Voss repeated softly, dangerously. "You called her a creature," Councillor Vryn intervened quickly. "Ambassador Chen, while this tragedy is regrettable, there are proper channels for..." "Officer Krelva struck her," Chen said, once with his enforcement staff. Across the temple. He filed it as minimal force applied to non-compliant entity. He noted the entity ceased movement and was therefore compliant. He continued his inspection. She reached into the box again and withdrew a data cube, placing it beside the skull. "This contains our investigation, medical scans, witness testimonies, analysis of the enforcement staff." "Do you know what we found?" No one answered. Officer Krelva's weapon was set to level 7. That's the setting for stunning a fully armored Kryn warrior, for subduing a rampaging Hector, for stopping a charging Terran grizzly bear in its tracks. Chen's voice finally cracked just for a moment. Maya weighed 23 kilograms. Her skull was still growing, still fusing. The impact killed her instantly. "This is a tragedy," Councillor Vryn said, and her voice held genuine sorrow. "A terrible accident. We will of course conduct a full investigation, ensure proper protocols." "We conducted the investigation," Commander Voss said. "We followed your protocols. We filed the proper reports. We requested extradition for trial under human jurisdiction, given the victim was human and on a human world. You denied our request. You said Officer Krelva had diplomatic immunity. You said he was simply following Zelthari enforcement procedures. The law is clear," the Zelthari delegate insisted. "Council officers acting in official capacity are protected from..." "So we followed the law too," Chen said. "We withdrew all human personnel from Council facilities. We ceased all cooperation with Council enforcement. We closed our borders to Council inspections." She paused. "And then we followed a different law. An older law." The third human stepped forward. Dr. Marcus Webb carried no weapons, no armor, but something about him made the assembled delegates shrink back. He was old, ancient even by human standards, and his eyes held the weight of history. "Do you know what humans are?" he asked conversationally. I mean, really no? You've read our files. Death world. Predator species. Endurance hunters. Persistently violent. You thought you understood. He smiled, and it was a terrible thing. You didn't. We are a species, he continued, that will cross oceans to avenge an insult. That will hunt something for days until it collapses from exhaustion just to prove we can. That will sacrifice everything we have for abstract concepts like justice and honor. He gestured to the skull. That will love our children so fiercely that harming them breaks something fundamental in our psyche. You filed protests, Chen said. When Officer Krelva disappeared 3 days after your denial of our extradition request. When his ship was found empty in neutral space. When his personal effects arrived at Zeltari Command with a simple note, justice served. The Zeltari delegates' coloration shifted to patterns of fear. You murdered a council officer. This is an act of war! The council will what? Voss asked flatly. Invade, sanction, declare us criminals? She leaned forward. Go ahead. Humanity has fought wars against our own planet since before we had language. We've survived ice ages, asteroid impacts, pandemics, and our own stupidity. We've clawed our way from caves to the stars on pure stubbornness and spite. Chen picked up the skull with infinite gentleness. This is not a threat, Council. This is a warning. This is us telling you who we are. We are builders and explorers, yes. We are diplomats and traders. We are scientists and artists. But we are also Deathworlders who remember every slight, who catalog every injury, who will pursue justice across parsecs and decades if that's what it takes. She placed Maya's skull back in the box with reverent care. Officer Krelva was tried, convicted, and sentenced under human law. The sentence was carried out by volunteers who gave up everything, their citizenship, their families, their futures, to ensure justice was done. They're gone now, disappeared into the dark, and we will never acknowledge them or speak their names. But we will remember Maya's, Dr. Webb said quietly, and every human child's. And if you ever harm one of our children again, we won't bring you a skull. We'll bring you a species. The silence that followed was absolute. Finally, Counselor Vryn spoke, her voice barely a whisper. What? What do you want from us? Ambassador Chen closed the wooden box. Recognition. That humans operate under human law when human lives are involved on human worlds. That diplomatic immunity has limits. That some crimes transcend jurisdiction. She met the counselor's optical sensors, and an acknowledgement that we warned you. That we tried your way first. That we came here with evidence and testimony and requests, and when all of that failed, we came with the consequences. She turned to leave, her delegation following. One more thing, Voss called back from the doorway. Those volunteers who disappeared? We don't know where they are. We can't call them back, and there are 10,000 more just like them in every human colony, every human ship, every human settlement. They're waiting, watching, ready to become ghosts the moment another Maya falls. The doors closed behind them, leaving the council in stunned silence with the wooden box sitting on the central platform like a gravestone, like a promise, like a declaration of what happens when death. Worlders learn to love. The vote on human territorial sovereignty passed, unanimously 3 hours later, Officer. Krelva's body was never found. Neither were Maya's. Killers. And throughout human space, parents held their children a little tighter, knowing that somewhere in the dark, unnamed guardians kept watch with ancient, terrible devotion.